buddy. How you been, man? Good to see you, my friend. How you been? All right?
Yeah, really good.
So good to see you.
Have you seen the movie yet?
I'm seeing it right now.
Oh God,
yeah.
you should get out of here and go see it.
I can't wait.
Oh, cool.
This is a question I've always wanted to know. So in the trailer, we see a lot of footage of you without the mask on, and I'm curious what dictates a scene with or without the mask, and do they have like certain conversations about how much of your face is going to be on screen, because people want to see Ryan Reynolds on camera, right? So what is that something that, and also has the tech changed at all in the way you do the eyes and the voice? So first on the question about the conversations about your face being on camera.
Yeah, the in terms of like, you know, the scar makeup versus the mask, usually it's just it's sort of organic. It just kind of happens. Like if we're in the you know, at Blind Owls and we're just hanging out, why would he be in the mask? Right. You know, so usually it's when it's go time. He's in the suit and in the mask. It's go time a lot, so I'm in it a lot. But you know, when you look at the production schedule, though, it's a nightmare, because when you're in the makeup, you're adding an extra 3 or 4 hours to your day, and then an extra hour to get out of it, and it slows the schedule down a bit. But so we usually try to do it when it's absolutely necessary. Yeah. Otherwise, in the mask. And the tech for the mask is done by a company called Weta. They do a ton of stuff. You might have heard of them. And that tech's not changed, as far as I know. We still do
scenes with the eyes.
We still do it. Like every scene I finish, I'll then take my iPhone and I'll record it with just my face, and then I'll send that to Weta, literally right on the set, and then they'll see it. They can, you know, adjust accordingly. Yeah.
Congratulations to you. Thank you for being so awesome.
Always
Dude, really good to see you. Congratulations. You're a good guy. Love
Love
talking to you, man. All right, I'm going to start off on a serious note, because you and I always have very serious interviews. Let's talk about Ryan's crotch landing on your face in that shot.
Yeah, man. I couldn't wait for that. That's the reason I decided to do the movie.
I know.
I thought, he said, look, there's this one bit where I'm thinking about, you know, teabagging you, and I'm not sure if I want to do it. And I said, dude, do it. My career's over anyway, so like, I want you to teabag me at your strongest, most irreverent will.
How many times is that shot done, Josh?
You know, I think that we did it throughout the movie. I think anytime we had a break, we'd go do it again, because he never felt like he got it right. So we would go right back into that thing, and he said, can I sit on your face again? And I was like, sure, man. I mean, we're not really doing anything. Do you want to get carrots at craft service right now, or can I sit on your face? And I was like, let's do the sit on my face thing. You know what we watched the other day, bro?
What?
We got, and they're back there, we watched your and my...
The fart interview?
Scene. It's a scene. It's not an interview. It's a scene. It's a failed interview. It's a good scene.
But it's dropped into the middle of Sicario 2, right?
I know.
Like, Denis saw it, and he was like, I don't
we
need
have
to direct
put this in.
We have to put this in.
We have to put this into the movie.
Yeah.
He didn't direct it.
I know he didn't direct it.
It was his suggestion.
Right.
And we said no. But it's on YouTube. It's its own thing. It's its own short film.
Yeah.
And you're an amazing actor, man. I just want to say
Thank you,
congratulations on that scene that you did with Josh Brolin.
Thank you
You're
so
really good. And then I haven't seen the other interview. I'm taking over this interview, by the way.
Go ahead.
I haven't seen the other interview, but you and I did another thing where we did more of a dramatic thing.
Reading. We did a reading about toilets.
About toilets. Yeah. And you had this amazing, it was like me and Jennifer Connelly and Only the Brave, where she was screaming at me, and I actually felt fear for a moment. I was yelling at you, and you actually felt fear for a moment.
You stretched yourself, you said.
You stretched yourself. Do you know what I mean?
You know, keeping with this theme, I genuinely...
What, you want to ask a question
I'm going
now?
to make a bad joke here, actually. I think that there needs to be some type of twist in Avengers 4 where Thanos passes a kidney stone, and that kind of reverses everything.
I like that.
I think that needs to happen.
I like that.
Can we get that done?
I like that. I like the kidney stone thing.
Yeah.
That was good. You know, it's good to once in a while just get out of the bubble of Hollywood and this whole idea that we're the only ones with the good ideas.
Yeah.
And reach out and grab somebody like you, Kevin, and like bring that outside perspective in.
This is amazing.
Dude, I wished you lived with me.
Me too.
But your wife's right there, and you just can't do it.
I know. I think your wife might have a problem with it as well.
No,
they
I
can
don't know
live
if she
together.
would have a problem with it.
And you can. You and I could just.
Your wife is really sweet, by the way.
Thank you.
Now I
She
have
is.
a totally different kind of outlook on you. I'm careful with you right now.
What was the initial outlook on me?
I don't know, that you were just kind of nomadic, and it just didn't matter. Even if I just crushed you emotionally, that it would be okay.
But I like when you crush me emotionally.
No, but now I see your wife, and I'm like, I have to take care of you now.
Dude, she loves
You're
the
like my
party.
little child now. You're like somebody I want to breastfeed, but not actually breastfeed.
Okay.
But just like hold you in that way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know?
I've never been offered a breastfeeding.
You haven't?
No.
Well, I'm your guy, man. I'm your guy.
That could be our third scene.
It could be our third scene. It just was.
All right, I am going to ask you one serious question, just legitimately.
Go for it.
To me, this movie works because of the heart and the actual dramatic element to it. It is a beautiful film. I cried laughing at times. I also cried legitimately tears. I won't give away the scene. I'll tell you after the camera
Because your wife
stops.
was there, right? Okay.
Because my wife was there.
Yep.
But there's a line that says, kids give us a chance to be better than we are.
Totally. And you know what? I read a review last night when we got home and the reviews broke and all that. And it was the one thing that I really loved about that review, and that it pointed that out.
Yeah.
And having kids and all that kind of, it's true. It's true. How do you get over yourself enough to help somebody else, especially somebody who's acting in a way that you don't particularly like?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're wrapping me real fast. You got to take a look at this.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen these. This is the Deadpool tiny hands. What does this remind you of?
Are they medicated?
What does that remind you of? Look
freaking Thanos is.
Yes!
Yeah, totally.
We need to get that thing to snap somehow.
I was just thinking that.
How can
You
we
and
get
I
it
are
to-
like the same,
Can we get it to
but
snap?
different.
Like,
No, but we can do this here. If you can't snap it, you can clap it. If you can't snap, nobody's disintegrating.
Russos, are you watching?
I was hoping.
This is it. This is Avengers 4.
Thanks, brother.
They're really good, actually.
So,
you want them?
No. Watch, I can do this though. Ready? Look, she's trying to throw you out. Ready?
Yeah.
Remember gleeking?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude! Dude, that's the craziest gleek I've ever seen.
That's pretty awesome. I used to do it in movie theaters when I was bored. And then, like, if I didn't like the movie, the person in front of me, they'd have a Coke, and I'd go like this. Like that, and they'd go, like, inevitably, they'd look up, and then I'd do it 2 or 3 more times, and they'd always look in their straw, which was the funniest fucking thing to me. They'd look in there and just go.
Dude, that's like legit
awesome.
Waterfall gleeking, man. Dude, really good to see, man. I genuinely mean it is better than the first. Oh, before we start, I want to clear this up because I called you Zazie when I walked in. Can you please help me? Because this is something I think of people call you Zazie all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of been a thing my whole life. My name is Zazie.
Okay.
Zazie, and then actually my last name is German, so it's Beetz. It's not Beetz, but I think it's kind of like, I don't know, people say, I don't know. There's different ways of saying a name in Spanish.
Like
We
Rihanna is
say
also
Jesus
Rihanna,
and say we
Rihanna.
say Jesus, so you know what I mean. But yeah, Zazie Beetz.
That's awesome. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for explaining it to me. 'Cause now I'll say it right when I review the movie Friday morning. So thank you. Well, congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Geeking out to be here. I know Weta did some of the effects
Yeah.
specifically on Ryan's eyes, and the cool thing you're from New Zealand,
Yeah.
from Wellington area.
Yeah.
Were your effects also done by Weta, and did you actually go there and kind of see how they did your?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. No, it was really cool. I think they did.
But how did
it
the
was-
hands work?
So they put like this pen on it, and I just had dots, and then they would put ash all over my hands, and then the silver ball would come and disappear. But I remember one time they put dots on my hands, and I had dots on my hands for like 4 days, because they put this ink pen on, and it like stained.
didn't,
Yeah,
yeah.
it like stained, so I had it on for 3 days. But it looked really cool. We did a lot of like weird stuff, like some like Goku stuff.
Wasn't some of it a little bit Maori inspired?
Yeah, like the haka, you know,
Yeah.
from the All Blacks, what they
Yeah.
what they did. So it was really cool that they that like this, the coordinators, they took a lot of time out to study that. And
For your action scenes, like they're incredible to watch, and I love the shot where you just drop into that truck. And I'm wondering because that must have been pretty precise because it's a very tight space.
You see,
you're dropping into.
this is so interesting because I want to clarify when people like are like, oh, the acting here was weird. Like that scene changed so many fucking times. When I tell you, like originally, the first time we shot it, I land on the car and I walk on the car and then I see the hatch. I open the hatch. I sit and then I kind of hop into the seat.
Oh, cool.
And then it completely goes where I just, so like I look super like, when maybe if I had known that I'd parachute into it, I'd look a little more frazzled.
One of the things I love about this movie is it does find a great heart, and there's a lot of action, but it's also comedy, that also drama as well. I think the beauty of this movie is the idea of family and the idea of like this line of kids make us better people. Essentially, Can you speak on that theme and kind of finding a serious tone within the absurdity and the insanity of this movie.
I think like in the film, because he's sort of like this father figure kind of thing, like Deadpool and Russell. Because like he's a really bad father figure. And it was really cool because he like, Deadpool the character, he covers so much like hurt and stuff with like this humor. So I think they did a really good job in balancing it. Like, I'm not allowed to say that either. But you know, he's going through some stuff in this film, and he really needs to
I
sort
think
it out.
just staying in the authenticity also of like his love with Vanessa, and then but still keeping the comedy, I think, is sort of both like remaining authentic while still keeping, I don't know, the
and it's still a superhero film as well. You know, it's still this action, like jam-packed, full of like action.
One thing I was mentioning to you when I walked in was I love Atlanta so much. And in Atlanta, you get multiple episodes to build a character. In a movie, you get 2 hours. I'm genuinely curious if you were able to have that realm of building a domino over multiple episodes like an Atlanta character. What would be interesting? What would you want to explore about her, kind of like more than the 2-hour window?
I would love to explore her origin story, kind of where she comes from. I think it's super tragic, it's super dark, and I think it informs a lot of how she is and who she is. But it's also interesting, like with Atlanta or a TV show, you get like 3 days an episode, where here it's like a 2-hour movie, but you get 4 months. So it's sort of a little bit of a different, sort of interesting. In ways you have more time to develop a character, but you definitely have less sort of like screen time to develop a character.
Yeah.
But I would love to dive into that.
All right, so I'm a huge fan of continuous tracking shots. And without giving anything away specifically with story-wise, you have an amazing shot in this film where a gentleman's running towards the camera, and it's just, and it's like just all this crazy action's happening behind him. Can you just talk about the idea of pulling off a major shot like that? Are there a lot of resets? I mean, I know you did a crazy thing at Atomic Blonde. Can you talk about just pulling that off?
Well, I mean, I do like to be creative with the way that I shoot action, and not just, you know, and granted, there's a lot of action in this movie where we did just, through schedule, just had to go down and dirty and do it more traditional. But I like to make those moments distinctive. So that shot you're talking about in the beginning of the movie was a motion control shot. So the idea was to be sort of trapped in this world with the guy as, like, you know, all this chaos is going on around him. So you shoot him in one pass with a motion control camera, and then you shoot the stunt's going on behind him at a different speed. The camera moves on a track. It's quite a process. That shot took the whole day.
Yeah.
So we did multiple passes to get the action to line up with the way the guy's running. And it is a sort of a technical
marvel.
Yeah, it's a technical marvel, and it takes a lot of, you know, everybody, all hands on deck to make it work. So.
You know, one thing I find interesting, I was talking to Ryan for the first Deadpool, and I don't know why I call him Ryan like I know him, Mr. Reynolds, but it was so cool to know how they did the voice and the mask and the eyes, and how Ryan would have to like do the scene again somehow so that Weta could like move the eyes the way they do. I was curious how that tech changed with 2, how you're still picking up his voice. Does he have a mic in there? And because I know it's supposed to sound muffled as he's underneath the mask. And then he was telling me yesterday that for the eyes, he'll finish a scene, go to his iPhone, take a picture of his face, like doing the scene again, and send it to Weta. Is that like, talk about that process?
Yeah, it is. It's obviously they're getting so good with the animation of the eyes, you know, now that they've done so much of it. And we didn't need facial capture for the actual eye animation. It was more of an impression. And because they now have a catalog and the artists are so good there, and you know, so him on his iPhone redoing the dialogue without the mask on helped them, the artists, the animators, work the eyes. In terms of like ADR in the mask, he is mic'd in the mask, and we do a lot of, we use a lot of production takes.
Yeah.
But then there is, in post, we may change a joke. We'll discover something different. We want to have a little bit of a narrative explanation, and the mask gives us an opportunity to make those adjustments, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to do that when it's just, you know, Keanu, because he's not wearing a mask.
Right,
So.
right. One thing I found interesting about this film, there's a lot of scenes of action without the mask on. There's a great rain sequence, which is unbelievable to watch. And this might be like a dumb question, but I'm curious, when you have that much makeup on you, how is the rain not messing up the makeup that Bill Corso just did on Ryan's shot? Like, how is that possible?
It's Bill Corso.
He's a genius, by the way.
He's a genius, and
Yeah.
his team, they prepare for all these contingencies. So you'd think that the makeup would all just melt off. I've been in movies 20 years, and I know all the behind the scenes, but I would still think like the makeup's gonna run off. But they have a method where the rubber mask is painted, and so it was some special techniques to just make sure that we weren't losing too much color in the mask. And
Yeah.
or some chemicals that probably hurting Ryan. No, I'm just kidding.
Last question for you. Obviously, I noticed your cameo in the film, which was I loved it. I was like, that's David Leitch. This is awesome. This is a question more about you, and I've been following your work for a while. I think what you and Chad did with the John Wick films was absolutely genius, and I believe even Chad's work on the second one was incredibly well done.
Thank you.
Do you have a stunt in your career that is the most memorable for you that you did prior to becoming a director? Is there one that like scared the crap out of you the most, or like the one that sticks with you a bit?
Well, we did a lot of interesting stunts for a lot of different movies, but there was this one. There's a sequence in the Matrix sequels where Chad and I. Where Keanu and Hugo are fighting each other in the rain, and it's like, they're all flying above the city, and we had sort of innovated with the special effects department these pitchfork rigs, and Chad is doubling Keanu, and I'm doubling Hugo Weaving, and we're on these big, 50, 60 foot arms that are against a blue screen and like fighting, and you're 20 feet off the ground and you're getting spun in a circle, and the sort of like margin for error is very short because if like one of those things just comes by and clips your head off, or the timing with all the people working the machines. I think that one is sort of like, wow, that was an achievement, a technical achievement like we talked before, but it's also like close calls, and so.
Yeah. One of the things I love about this film is there's a lot of action sequences where the mask is actually off. We're seeing Ryan do a lot of scenes with the mask off, like the rain sequence. When you write scenes like that, is there a conversation about when you want to have Ryan's face on screen? Like, he's the star of a movie, but his character is behind a mask. When you write those scenes, do you think about, okay, we need to maybe give Ryan some face time in this shot?
Yeah, we're always trying to convince Ryan to show more of his face. The problem is it's about a 3.5 hour makeup job, or maybe not 3.5, 2 hour 45.
And he kind of hates it by now.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, when his face sweats, it accumulates under that mask. So Bill Corso puts this mask on him. Bill Corso's a genius. Puts this mask on him in the morning. And Ryan says when he tilts his face from side to side like that, he can feel the liquid, the sweat underneath the mask travel from one side of his face to the other. He says it's really uncomfortable. So he prefers to be in the Deadpool mask as opposed to his face. But we try to find a healthy balance because it is important, I think, to see him be able to emote, in a way that only an actor can when they don't have a mask over their face. What the mask gives us the potential to do is rewrite lines really late in the process because we can't see his mouth. So we were rewriting Deadpool lines 3 weeks ago, right
the
before
brilliance
release.
of Ryan Reynolds, though, is he can act behind that mask, too, in a way that you wouldn't believe. Like, he emotes, he's got this red, rubber suit on, and yet you can feel, and see in the eyes, they're white eyes, but you can kind of feel what he's feeling in that moment because he is such a brilliant actor and can translate behind that mask.
Considering Deadpool's jokes play into the action sequences, how much of the writing of the action do you do? Because I feel like as screenwriters, like you can write dialogue and the action, give us camera angles. How much of the action is written by you guys?
We're very specific. We write very specific action with a lot of personality, but then the director takes it and the choreographers take it and it becomes something and totally next level. So we do try to be as specific as we can, but then it definitely evolves, and really our action is owed almost entirely to Dave Leitch. He's just terrific at that.
And our job is primarily setting aside the logistics or the choreography of the action, is just to infuse personality and to infuse character into that action.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I only have 2 questions to you guys because there's like a long form here, but thank you for giving me any time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Maybe I'll get in touch with your publicist. We can do like a phone
Yeah,
or something.
let's do a phoner. That'd be really cool.
I have so much stuff I want to ask you.
Okay,
we would love it.
Yeah,
all right, great.